Hey guys, Alex and Dad from 7th Hour Films back again with Doctor Who. Last time around we had the Rebel Flesh and the Almost People. What happened on that one?
Alright, so the flesh, and I can't remember if it was an alien or just something that the people of Earth cooked up.
No, it's just something they cooked up.
Okay.
Actually, there's nothing alien in those episodes now that you mention it.
Okay. Because I was thinking we had mentioned the adipose. But somebody has created this substance which literally not just clones people, but literally replicates them, because the clones are not just physical representations, but they have the same memories and the feelings and everything of the people that they have replicated. And of course, everything starts to go wrong, and the clones try to fight against the people who are there in the factory creating them, and it's one of those things where they finally have to literally take into account that they are the same people and try to figure this all out. It was, again, a very good episode. I enjoyed it. But at the end, the big thing is we find out that Amy is not Amy at all, but seems to be a flesh reproduction of Amy that was like 4 or 5 episodes back somehow. And that's why the TARDIS could not figure out whether or not she was pregnant, because it didn't know that she was the real Amy or not.
Yeah. It took a while, and the reason that the Doctor was there in the first place was to learn more about how the flesh worked, because he wanted to be able to block the signal to the flesh. So yeah, they just melted Amy inside the TARDIS. Very traumatizing, and she woke up. She's 9 months pregnant. In fact, she's giving birth right now, and there's a creepy lady with an eye patch floating over her telling her to, get started. So that's pretty much where we left off. You got anything else before we go into this?
No. It's really cold today. We've had our first dusting trace of snow here this first week of December, and I suspect we're going to get way more in the coming year.
It is particularly cold for December. Like, it's not normally this cold this fast, so...
What's really weird is, what was it? Was it last weekend that we actually had to mow our lawn? That's the latest we've ever had to mow our lawn.
Yeah,
because it was warm all through November.
Yeah, we mowed both yards on Black Friday, basically. Because it was supposed to rain the next day.
And less than a week later, it was snowing.
Yeah, so... I mean... That's just how it goes sometimes, so... But yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. We are in for what many people say is one of the really good episodes of Doctor Who.
I've been hearing it. Not only did you say it, but there was some comment online that I saw that this is like one of the best of Matt Smith's episodes.
Yeah, this one is really interesting, and it will continue our season plot of... We gotta go find Amy. So, we might as well just get right into it.
All right.
What you are going to be, Melody, is very, very brave.
2 minutes.
But not as brave as they'll have to be. Because there's someone coming. I don't know where he is, or what he's doing. But trust me, he's on his way.
20,000 light years.
Cybermen!
Oh, no.
He's the last of his kind. He looks young, but he's lived for hundreds and hundreds of years. Because this man is your father.
Prepare to engage.
He has a name, but the people of our world know him better. As the last Centurion.
I have a message and a question. Where is my wife? Oh, don't give me those blank looks.
What is the Doctor's message?
Would you like me to repeat the question?
Rory's got some stones on him.
He has to now. He gotta go find his wife and his kid.
No, that's the psychic. You gotta look for the fractals. Don't look bored. We're on yellow alert.
We've been on yellow alert for 3 weeks.
Reminder, do not interact with headless monks without
Headless monks?
Do not interact with...
You're all in a bucket, aren't you?
Yeah.
Hello, I'm the thin one. This is my husband. He's the fat one.
Don't you have names?
We're the thin, fat, gay, married Anglican Marines. Why would we need names as well?
You've had an encounter, haven't you? You've met him.
I was just a kid. He said, run.
Just run.
He said it a lot.
And this was in the Gamma Forests, yeah? Because you're a Gamma girl, aren't you?
What was that in? What was that encounter in, or is that just something they made up?
No, it's something off screen.
To make a donation.
So, what do you
Yeah,
think?
they're headless for a
The Doctor's
reason.
really coming here.
Something 1888. Jack the Ripper.
Thank you, Carter. Send a telegram to Inspector Abeline of the Yard.
Abeline.
Jack the Ripper has claimed his last victim.
Oh, good job.
Did you find him?
Stringy, but tasty all the same. I shan't be needing dinner.
Congratulations, Mom.
By the way, they just figured out who the real Jack the Ripper was using DNA. Oh, here we go.
Will I be okay?
Of course you will, my boy. You'll be up and around in no time. And perhaps one day, you and I shall meet on the field of battle, and I will destroy you for the glory of the Sontaran Empire.
Well, thank you.
Thanks, Nurse.
Tonight, though, perhaps my penance is over. Captain Harcourt, I hope someday to meet you in the glory of battle, but I shall crush the life from your worthless human form. Try and get some rest.
Oh, turn it off. I'm breaking in, not out. This is River Song back in her cell. Oh, and I'll take breakfast at the usual time. Thank you.
Prison's just a resort for her.
It's my birthday. The Doctor took me ice skating on the River Thames in 1814, the last of the Great Frost Fairs. He got Stevie Wonder to sing for me under London Bridge.
Stevie Wonder sang in 1814.
Yes, he did. But you must never tell him.
Yeah.
I've come from the Doctor too.
That was
Yes.
literally right when the War of 1812 was coming to an end.
Unless there's two of them.
Why on earth are you wearing that?
The Doctor's idea.
Of course. His rules of engagement.
You gotta be
Float
prepared.
like a butterfly, sting like a bee.
Look ridiculous.
He considered
Muhammad Ali said that. Well,
They're
Cassius
taking
Clay
Amy.
said it.
There are people all over this galaxy that owe that man a debt. By now, a few of them will have found a blue box waiting for them on their doorstep. Poor devils.
You think he's raising an army?
You think he isn't? If that man is finally collecting on his debts, God help you. And God help his debtors. All those stories you've heard about him, they're not stories, they're true. Really? You're not telling me you don't know what's coming?
Do we know him from somewhere?
He was at the end of last season. He sold a vortex manipulator to River.
You don't need me!
He looked familiar.
Eh,
I'm old! I'm fat! I'm blue! The Doctor is a living, breathing man. And as I look around this room, I know one thing. We're sure as hell gonna fix that.
you know what he is? A Time Lord. The last of them. And if the Daleks couldn't fix that...
Sorry. He's sort of like I don't know. A dark legend.
Dark. Have you met him?
Yeah. But I was just a little girl.
So was I.
You've been there, done that.
And they can never, ever be.
Oh!
Surprise!
Hello, everyone. Guess who? Please, point a gun at me if it helps you relax.
Oh, like a swords.
Do not fire!
It was incredibly easy to turn them on each other.
I am now unarmed. All of you, discharge your weapon packs. The Doctor is trying to make fools of us. We are soldiers of God.
I mean, you made a fool of yourself before he got here. Oh.
I think you got fooled this time.
Yeah. Now you have no weapons. He has an army.
The Judoon.
Everyone who owes a debt.
Danny boy to the doctor! Danny boy to the doctor! Give him hell, Danny boy!
Oh yeah. Went back to Churchill and got some planes.
Don't stop, it's bad for your spine.
Shoot him.
I have a crew of 20. How do you expect to gain control of my ship?
Down the pirates! You had a crew of 20.
You will give the order for your men to withdraw.
No, Colonel Manson, I want you to tell your men to run away.
Run away!
Those words, run away. I want you to be famous for those exact words. Look, I'm angry, that's new. I'm really not sure what's going to happen now.
The anger of a good man is not a problem. Good men have too many rules.
Today is not the day to find out why I have so many.
Give the order, Colonel, run away.
Should have been a postman or something.
No, hang on a minute.
They took her. Or they took our baby away.
Now, Mrs. Williams, that is never, ever gonna happen.
Oh, that's how you make an entrance. You got the baby, you're Centurion, it all works out.
Oh God, I was gonna be cool. I wanted to be.
Hello? Hello, baby?
Melody.
Melody? Hello, Melody Pond.
Melody Williams.
It's a geography teacher, Melody Pond.
She's still all yours. And really, you should call her Mummy, not Big Milk Thing.
Okay, what are you doing?
I speak baby.
No, you don't.
I speak everything. Don't I, Melody Pond? No, it's not. It's cool.
Doctor?
I have genes spliced myself for all nursing duties. I can produce magnificent quantities of lactic fluid.
She's not hungry, she's
I didn't need to know that.
This?
Very pretty, according to your daughter. It's a cot. No flies on the Roman. Give her here.
Hey, here we go.
It's a bassinet.
But where would you get a cot?
It's old. Really old. Doctor, do you have children?
Why, yes, I do.
No.
Eh.
Yes, you do.
Have you ever had children?
Not anymore.
It's mine.
What is?
Cot. It's my cot. I slept in there.
Oh my God! It's Doctor's first stars.
It was back before he was the Doctor. It's a long, long time ago.
The only reason I joined the clerics was so I could meet the Doctor again.
You wanted to meet him? So you joined an army to fight him?
Well, how else do you meet a great warrior?
He's not a warrior.
Then why is he called the Doctor?
That's not what that means.
So, technically, the first time they were on the TARDIS together in this version of reality was on their...
On their what?
on their wedding night.
Confirmed.
And they had bunk
No
beds.
life forms.
Doesn't make sense. You can't just cook yourself a Time Lord.
Of course not. The child, then. What do you think?
What is she?
Hope. Hope in this endless, bitter war.
War.
Against who?
Whom?
Against you, Doctor.
What do we know? How are they chanting? They don't have throats.
Rory, no offense to the others, but you let them all die first, okay?
You're so Scottish.
I'm friends to the monks. They know me.
Yeah, and they know you just sold them out to the doctor.
Oh, they'll understand. It's only me. Only silly old me.
You're about to get sliced
You
up.
understand, don't you?
Ugh.
I've often dreamed of dying in combat. I'm not enjoying it as much as I hoped.
No one ever does.
Don't give up.
It's all right. I've had a good life. I'm nearly 12.
I am so sorry.
Amy, it's not his fault.
I know. Doctor.
It's just all a bit
Someone
traumatizing.
wants to speak to you. Doctor. The word for healer and wise man throughout the universe. We get that word from you, you know. But if you carry on the way you are, what might that word come to mean? Oh, look, you're caught. Haven't seen that in a very long while.
No, you tell me who you are.
I am telling you. Can't you read?
Hello.
Hello.
But that means...
I'm afraid it does.
Ooh. But you and I, we
Yes. It's your daughter's name in the language of the forest. I know my daughter's name. Except they don't have a word for pond. Because the only water in the forest is the river. The doctor will find your daughter, and he will care for her whatever it takes. And I know that. It's me. I'm Melody. I'm your daughter.
Say what?
Well, oh. So, okay. There's a slight break in the middle of the season here. I will explain it to you in the next episode, but there was a couple months between this episode and the next episode, essentially marking this as a mid-season finale.
That's a hell of a thing to leave people waiting for months to continue.
Yeah, so. And technically, as I said, this is not considered a two-parter, and this is a sort of kind of contained, semi-contained episode. So, the big reveal, since we first met her in season 4 with the 10th Doctor.
Okay, so he hadn't even met Amy by this point.
Right.
But he meets Amy and Rory's daughter as an adult.
Mm-hmm.
But she hadn't met the 10th Doctor. Is Matt Smith the first time she actually meets him?
Yeah, well, so that's the thing is... Well, I mean, technically, yes. If you want to be really technical about it, the first time that River met the Doctor was right here when Little Melody Pond met the Doctor in that that little chamber.
But this version of River...
This version of River, we have still yet to see the first time she meets the Doctor.
Okay.
So... And I remember, too... Because I was like, there's no way they were thinking about that all the way back then. But the thing is that those episodes introducing River, those were written by Stephen Moffat. And he was I think he pretty much already knew that he was going to be the next showrunner. And so he had already started coming up with plans. So it's entirely possible that in Tennant's last season, he had already come up all the way to this point with the character of River Song. So, and this most likely is what tempted David Tennant, because he talked to Stephen Moffat, and they talked about the plans for season 5 and everything. And Tennant said he was very, very tempted to stay on for another season just to experience that. So, and I think there are YouTube videos that do like a what if the 10th Doctor didn't regenerate, but still met Amy and things proceeded that way. And those are interesting what ifs, but yeah, that's Melody Pond is River Song. So,
because there is no word for pond in the Gallifreyan language.
Well, no,
in the language that was.
Yeah, in the language of the forest, the only water is the river, which is what the TARDIS said a couple episodes back. So,
now is that the Gamma Forest that the young girl was talking about, or is this some other forest? Okay,
yeah, that was the Gamma Forest because she made the thing, the little prayer thing. And and it's Melody's name in her language, and then retranslated through the TARDIS. So, and the TARDIS doesn't give it. It's interesting because the TARDIS does not just translate that to Melody Pond; it translates it to the closest it would exactly be in that language. So it would be River Song instead of Melody Pond. So yeah, that is only going to get more complicated from here. It's only going to get crazier.
Will there be a future episode in the Gamma Forest? Will we go back and see the?
No.
Okay.
No. That's it for.
Okay, so that to me is the only, I don't want to say glaring problem, is that they introduce a character who's met the Doctor before, but we the audience haven't, and they're not going to in the future go back and redo that.
I think what it was is that him appearing in the Gamma Forest might have been in the preparation of this episode, gathering up people who have owed a debt to him, basically. So I think that's sort of the setup, or while he was looking for Amy, he ended up in the Gamma Forest, and that sort of leads into this, so... But it's all just part of the legend of the Doctor, so...
All right, now, the Cybermen at the beginning...
They're not part of this, really. He knew that the Cybermen were smart enough that they would have information on where Amy was being captured. So they went to them, destroyed them because the Doctor was angry, but still got the information of where Demon's Run was, basically. But technically, the Cybermen are not part of any of it.
Well, that was a weird kind of red herring. All right, so he has a Silurian from
the 1800s.
I don't remember the Silurians in the 1800s.
No.
I remember the Silurians in The Hungry Earth.
Yeah. So that was another... pretty much all of the characters here are... They're more characters that are sort of implied. So at some point, the Doctor met Madame Vastra. It took me a while to remember her name. But Madame Vastra, who was awoken at some point, just a lone Silurian in the London Underground, and went around just killing innocent people, trying to avenge the Silurians. And the Doctor found her. Eventually, she calmed down, and then she became a sword-wielding detective in the 1800s who killed Jack the Ripper and ate him. So,
which is why they couldn't find his body.
Yeah. So
just about that. Just a couple of weeks ago, they essentially knew that there were like 5 or 6 people theoretically who could have been the Ripper, and they've been going through one by one trying to eliminate them. What happened was they did this new DNA thing where they get DNA from supposedly ancestors of the people who were suspected, and as it turns out, this guy who was a Polish butcher and I can't remember the guy's name, but he was one of the chief suspects that Constable Aberline, or Aberline, I can't remember which it was, had always thought it might be. And one of the victims, again, had some kind of scratches under her fingernails. There was some connection, which up until now they were never able to trace. And they put that into and tried to match it, and it matched against the butcher. So, I mean, I thought there'd be a bigger notice about that. I mean, worldwide story, but it was just buried in the papers that I read.
I mean, that would be interesting. I'm trying to think of like where you would hear that nowadays, because that's the thing. It's like, I don't know, I feel like any other time in our world that may have been a bigger news story, but nowadays it's just like
back in the 1980s, which is again the 100th anniversary of the killings, because it was in the 1880s and early 1890s, if I recall correctly. There were TV movies about Jack the Ripper. There was all sorts of other stuff about him, because again, 100 years later, nobody had ever solved the crime.
Well, yeah.
And so now we are 40 years later, they actually solved the crime. And again, to me, that would have been front page news. But, we have a psychopath running our government here in the United States. So I guess it just, kind of gets shuffled off to the back pages.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Although I imagine maybe someone will make another Jack the Ripper movie that specifically makes him the Polish butcher instead. So
in fact, I want to say one of Queen Victoria's children was actually suspected at one point too. But there were several candidates of people who could have been, simply because of their actions and people saying, "Hey, I saw the prince go down to one of the red light districts or whatever." But anyway, apparently that has now been solved. But getting back to this, again, starting out at the beginning, I love the fact that again Moffat has a very serious story, but can still throw in a lot of not comedy but humor. That. To me, that helps set up the ending, because you're laughing all through the first part of it, realizing, I know this is serious, but Lord, that was funny. And then you get to the end and it's like, okay, it turns out that Dr. River Song, and I guess we're going to find out somewhere in the future how she got to be a doctor, because she's an archaeologist.
Yeah.
And the original doctor was kind of a historian, if I recall correctly. Wasn't Hartnell basically going around the universe trying to just study things?
Yeah.
So anyway... and then the doctor leaves, saying, "I'm going to go find the baby." And River says, "Okay, don't kill me because, I'm your daughter." And then, let's break away for a couple of months and go kill Hitler. It's like, what?
The next episode is a feast. A feast of wackiness. So... we will get to that next week, but
and of course that I want to say either early or late in 1944. This is before the war came to an end, and I can't remember if it was before or after D-Day. Some of the German high command, the generals, started talking amongst themselves and said, "This guy is crazy, and we're all going to die," and they tried to assassinate him. In fact, there's a couple of movies about it. I think there's one I think called Operation Valkyrie, where they planted a bomb under his chair at one of these big meetings, but somehow or other either he had moved or the bomb was not effective enough, and there was an explosion, but Hitler was not killed. So
yeah, we'll get to that. But yeah, it's an interesting thing. So I guess, in a sense, you were right and wrong about your predictions of River Song, because you said, well, she must be a Time Lord. And kind of, technically, because, I mean, she can regenerate. We saw that because we saw the child, in New York regenerate at the beginning of the season, so she can regenerate. And yeah, but it's an interesting thing, because I like even the Doctor is baffled by it. It's just like, well, how can she really be a Time Lord? It's like, well, the Time Lords, they became what they were because they were exposed to, the time vortex and all that stuff. And the Doctor says, but we did that for millions of years. Like, that was a proper evolution. Whereas River, Melody, she began in the one time that Amy and Rory were actually on the TARDIS together in that timeline, which was on their wedding night. Which also means that the Amy that we saw in A Christmas Carol, where they were on the ship and they were at the honeymoon suite, technically she probably was already taken by then. So, but yeah, and it is also funny because they said at the end of The Doctor's Wife, like, House had to destroy a lot of the rooms to get into the universe and stuff. And so the Doctor's like, well, I should make you guys a new room. And they said, okay, but could we not have a bunk bed? And so it's like, so this great weapon of that they have created to specifically kill the Doctor in this long-standing war with him was conceived in the TARDIS on a bunk bed on Amy and Rory's wedding night. It's a lot to take in. Yeah. It's very strange. It kind of reminds me. There was a meme where they took like 3 different sci-fi franchises and they said, here's like the ultimate beings of each one, and it's like, here's Star Wars, this like strange like kind of beings of the Force and stuff like that, this strange thing, and then here's Star Trek. And it's this, kind of weird thing, but, you go into it and it's like, well, how do we explain this scientifically? And then it was Doctor Who, and it's like, here's a toaster. It has a accent from Yorkshire, and it just has all the power of the universe. I don't know what to tell you. And it's one of those things that's like, well, this show is very different from the others, from its contemporaries. It's ridiculous. But that's how River came to be, on a bunk bed. So...
Okay.
Well, yeah. I guess the other thing to talk about is the Doctor. It's interesting how they talk about, what does Doctor actually mean? And it's just because, you watch some of this and it's like, oh, he's a great warrior. Even, the Colonel who's like, oh, he's not a phantom, he's not a god, he's not a demon, he's not all this stuff. And I'm just like, no, he's a doctor. He tells you what he is when you meet him, because it's the word doctor. It's very simple, actually. It's a very simple thing for him to be known as, but it's interesting, like, how that word kind of evolves as time goes on.
They've had that discussion before, and I can't remember if it was, I think it was the second Doctor, because somebody asked him, are you a medical doctor? And he said, well, I got the medical degree in Edinburgh in the 1880s.
Well, yeah.
But instead of a medical doctor, he's more of a PhD kind of doctor. Again, he's more of the historian, archaeologist.
Yeah.
Sort of. So either way, he's not specifically a healer. He is somewhat of a peacemaker. He tries to be a peacemaker. Yeah. So, a diplomat. And again, you can get a doctorate in political science and so forth. So I accepted what they were saying there, but I was going, he's not really a doctor, not a doctor. I mean,
he's a physician. He's a healer in the most broad sense of the term.
Yeah,
it's kind of like, honestly, we're rewatching Andor season 1. We were gonna watch season 2, and there's a point at the ISB where it's like, what is our purpose? And it's like, we treat symptoms. We are healthcare providers. We treat symptoms. We fix these things, these diseases that are affecting the general population. And it's like, it's kind of more like that, where it's like, there is a problem that will arise, and the doctor, the healer, will make things better for you. Or you'll end up dead, like most of the Silurians do. But actually, when you mention that, it's like, well, he got his PhD in the 1800s. It's like, I wonder if that's where he met Madame Vastra the rogue Silurian. he was studying, getting his medical degree. Heard there was a lizard person in the underground. Decided to go deal with that. So
not only were the Yeti in the London Underground, but also the Silurians.
Yeah.
And who was it that somebody was trying to break into a vault in a bank? Was that the Cybermen?
I don't remember.
I think it was the Cybermen. Was that a Tom Baker?
I don't know.
I seem to remember they were going into the London Underground because they were trying to break into a bank or a jewelry vault or something. But anyway, somebody will answer that for us, I'm sure.
Yeah, so we may have watched all of classic Doctor Who, but it doesn't mean we remember it. So
26 years.
Yeah, it's a lot of information. So, but it's interesting with the Doctor. It's like, especially because they say, like, at the beginning, did you think it would become this? And honestly, that kind of also just doubles for the show itself. Like thinking back to those first episodes of the Doctor and Susan and Ian and Barbara and the cavemen and caveman politics. Could you have ever expected, nearly 50 years later, so this is about 48 years, 48 years later, that there would be Cybermen, Headless Monks, the Anglican Marines, River Song and all of her complexities, the Silurians, a blue guy who did lose his head, poor guy, the Flesh. That's all just complicated. It's like, could you have ever expected that this somehow is the exact same show that has been on for 48 years at this point, and even longer now? It's just like, it is kind of a ridiculous thing, especially because it's like, we brought up Star Wars and Star Trek. It's like, you can go to Star Wars and it's like, yeah, there's the original trilogy of Star Wars, but then everything just kind of branches off from there. You can watch the sequels, you can watch the prequels, there's 10,000 Disney Plus shows and everything. There's the Clone Wars, there's Rebels, there's all this different stuff, so you can find different things. They don't all have to be uniform and exactly the same. Same with Star Trek, a lot of them are very similar to each other, but then you'll get Star Trek Picard or Star Trek Discovery and Strange New Worlds and all the new Paramount Plus stuff, and so that kind of works. But then you have Doctor Who, which is the story of one character for over 60 years. It's the same guy from start to now, and it will keep going, even though sometimes it tries not to, and it just keeps going. And it's like, how do these all fit together? Like, you can literally just watch the evolution of television over the course of this one show from 1963 to the present. It's ridiculous. So yeah. I don't know. You got anything else?
Really, no. I'm definitely looking forward to how this resolves, and I'm sure in an episode titled "Let's Kill Hitler," it doesn't resolve itself there. So I'm imagining it's going to go through the end of the season.
Yeah, it's the plot will keep going, and it is something. Especially next episode is really something.
Is this the second season of Matt Smith?
Yes.
So he's got one more season after this.
Yes.
Okay.
So, and then it'll get a little less complicated. This is probably the most complicated season, because that's the thing, is like, at the end of this, if you're not picking up on what's happening, and it's just like, all right, we're going to stop and we're going to ask, who is River Song? And it's like, is that our highest priority? But then you realize, no, it is, because River Song is intrinsically tied to the story of Melody Pond. In fact, she couldn't be any, closer to that story if she tried, because she is. And it's just, it's ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. So, and Amy's going to have to grapple with the fact that her daughter is now dating kind of the Doctor. So it's complicated. Very, very complicated. And for a second I was gonna make a joke like, when they have little baby Melody and he brings out the old cot and everything, it's just like, oh, the Doctor's kind of acting more like a grandfather now to Melody, and it's like, oh yeah, and then like I just immediately remembered like, oh wait, that doesn't work. So he's gonna end up as the Amy and Rory's son-in-law at this point. So,
and then if that happened, their child would be the mother of Susan, because Susan was the first Doctor's granddaughter.
Well,
unless she was adopted.
Well, I mean, unless I mean, this is currently a debate within the Doctor Who fandom right now of how is Susan, basically, how does Susan exist? So there is that possibility, I suppose. There are future possibilities that we'll have to get to when we get there, and that's when I'm going to take up drinking. But then there are still the past possibilities that the Doctor did have a family on Gallifrey, and it was relatively normal that he got married, he had a kid, that kid had Susan, and then, you know, in the Doctor's, I say old age, you know, before the show started, but in his old age, he wanted to go see the universe, took Susan with him. That's the simplest theory. That's the theory a lot of people hope is just kind of the case, and we don't get too much more complicated after that, but it's something. And that's the problem is this is a current debate on how does Susan work. And it's ridiculous to think about that it's a current debate on a character that existed 60 years ago. Yeah. But we don't know. Technically, we don't know. And it is the one thing, too, because they never give anything of the Doctor's life before the TARDIS, kind of. Like, it's that brief little period, and it's weird that it's brief, but that brief little period of when he was born to taking the TARDIS, and we get an unearthly child meeting Ian and Barbara. That period is so nebulous, and a couple things get added, but you don't know about it.
I seem to recall that Pertwee and Tom Baker discussed some events of their childhood.
Some.
Like, sitting on the hillside and watching the skies. And
you get glimpses of it.
Yeah, and then didn't Tennant talk about it? Talk about it once.
What we know is that the Doctor was, for all intents and purposes, a normal child on Gallifrey. He was childhood friends with the Master before he was the Master. And eventually he met the old hermit, who showed up again at the end of the Third Doctor's era, and eventually joined the Time Lord Academy, became a Time Lord, retired, and then stole his current TARDIS. So that's really all we know. And, we don't get flashbacks, we don't know anything else. The only people we know about for sure are the old hermit and the Master, and that's it. But we don't know really about the Doctor's family, his parents, his, if he had brothers or sisters or anything else.
Now, there was that one other guy, again, I think it was with the Fourth Doctor, the mechanic, the guy who said, I can fix your TARDIS or something like that.
Yeah, and some friends at school, essentially. Yeah, so we know a little bit about that. And the only thing we know about his family is that when he left, he had his granddaughter, Susan. Where that granddaughter came from, we just don't know. We don't know if he was married beforehand or not. So, it's complicated. So, yes, technically, Susan could also be the granddaughter of River Song and the great-granddaughter of Amy and Rory.
But we'll leave that for another time.
So someone will pick it up. We have... There are plenty of episodes where we will talk about the Doctor before Doctor Who. It is when most people will take up drinking. I will pick up drinking at some point in this show, and we'll get out the flowcharts. I'll go find all the flowcharts, and then we'll figure it all out, or not, because at some point a new writer will come in and will make up something else, and then that will happen.
Until then.
So yeah, before my brain completely dies, we're going to stop, and then we're also going to go record the Sarah Jane Adventures, and hopefully my mind will be healed, because that's not complicated, unlike this season. So with all of that being said, we're Alex and Dad from 7th Hour Films, and we will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. There's a bunch of links on screen if you want to go click around any of those. There's a playlist with all of our modern Doctor Who reactions, as well as another video you can go click on if you want. There's also a subscribe button and a Patreon button on screen, as well as other links in the description if you want to go check out any of those. See you guys later.